Today we're going to continue factoring trinomials, but this time the coefficient of the x squared, or the squared term, is going to have a number there, not just be a coefficient of 1. So we have a lot of things to consider here. I like to just basically use guess and check on these, but I am going to show you a method that will always work. But again, like I say, I usually just use the guess and check method until I find the right combination. But if you want to use this method, and I will show you kind of the guess and check maybe on the next one or something, you're going to multiply these two numbers together. Okay, so the first and the last term, the coefficients, you're going to get 30. So we want to come up with factors of 30 that are going to, in this case, add to 17. So you think of factors of 30 like 1 and 30, 2 and 15, and there you have it. So we're going to write it out as 6x squared, and we're just going to break this down into plus 15x plus 2x. That's what these two factors would be, plus 5. And then we're going to use our grouping and group these two together and these two and say, what do you have in common here? Well, you have a 3x, all right, it's going to be 3 times the quantity 2x, my marker's not working very well here, plus 5. And here there's nothing in common, so you do have just a 2x plus 5. So now we're going to say we have this in common, so this would be the quantity 2x plus 5 times the quantity 3x plus 1, because you are taking that out of there, leaving you just a 1. And again, you can use the FOIL method to check it. So that's the method you can go through. Especially if they don't have lots of factors like this one, I just kind of use guess and check. The only way you're going to get 7x or 7 as a factor is 7 and 1, so this one should be pretty easy to use our guess and check method. Factors of 3 are 3 and 1, so you just got to find out which place the 3 needs to go to, and it needs to go here because we want 21 plus 1. So it would be plus and plus. But again, you could use this other method and then say 7x plus, and we're using 21 and 1, so 21x plus x plus 3. And then group them, saying you have an x and 7 in common here. 7x, sorry, that's an x squared. So plus 3. And then an x plus 3 in common. So you factor the x plus 3 out and you're left with 7x plus 1. Sorry, it's a little sloppy there. So again, I like this, especially if there's not as many factors. It's usually easier to use, but if you get stuck and you're not sure what to do, you can always use this method to find them, but it is kind of a guess and check method. We do have a lot of factors here, but when you multiply 8, 28, and 10, you do get 280. And notice this is positive, so that, and this is negative, so that means they both need to be negative. So you're trying to find some combination of 280 that when you add them, you're going to get 43. So you kind of need to go through your factors of 280, so like 1 and 280. Well, that's real far apart, and so on. And you just keep going. 2 and 140. 3 doesn't go into 280. 4 does. 4 and 70. And again, you just kind of keep going until you find something, and it happens to be 8 and 35. So just go through your divisibility test using those or whatever. So it would be 10x squared, room here, minus 8x minus 35x plus 28. So when you group, remember, think of this as plus and a negative there. Sorry, you can't see my negative, but that 35 is negative now. So here, what do I have in common? A 2x, leaving me 5x minus 4. And here, what do I have in common? I'm going to factor out a negative 7, leaving me 5x minus 4. So now I have the 5x minus 4 in common, leaving me 2x minus 7. And again, you can eventually get there by guess and check. So let's say we wanted to use the guess and check method on this one. You have to try different factors of 4x. So you can try 4x and 1 or 2x and 2. It doesn't really matter, but you do want to try all combinations. So let's say I decided I wanted to try 2x into x. Looking at factors of 35, I know my signs are going to be different, so I'm going to be subtracting them and getting a 4. Well, the first thing that pops into your mind, I hope, would be 5 and 7. So if I try a 5 here and a 7 here, that gives me 14 and 10. That does give me a 4, so I got to make sure I get my signs right. It's supposed to be a 2 there. I want the bigger number to be negative, and that comes from here, so negative 14x plus 10x. So double check everything. 2x squared minus 14 plus 10 would be minus 4x and minus 35, so that would work. So again, the guess and check, the fewer factors you have, the easier it is to use, but this is kind of a tricky method to get the hang of, so just kind of keep guessing and checking. This one doesn't have very many factors, so I probably would like to try the the guess and check method on this. So 2x and x, factors of 2 are 2 and 1, so I'll try the 2 and 1 here. They need to be different, so I'm going to be subtracting them, so I get 2x and 2x. Well, that would be gone. If I reverse, because you do need to look at all situations, and put the 1 here and the 2 here, I get 2x, 4x, and 1x, but remember I am subtracting them, because if I make them both negative, I would get my negative 5x, but I wouldn't get that. So when we've tried all combinations, and there isn't in this case anything else to try, this would be an example of a prime trinomial, so it would not be factorable. We couldn't factor it into anything. So if you do have this, you might want to draw your line through it and just say that it is prime.